Hi, this is Jeremy. Welcome to Not in the Book. 55 people signed the Declaration of Independence in time for Mary Katharine Goddard's official 1777 printing. One guy, of course, didn't. There's always one. Thomas McKean from Delaware. Historians don't think he actually got his name on the parchment until sometime around 1781. It's like 5 years after the fact. Sometimes you make an entrance, and sometimes you're just late. Anyways, this story's not about Tom, because there is one more name attached to that page, and even though she technically didn't sign it, she still kind of did. She wasn't a delegate. She wasn't even legally allowed to vote. Because female. She was just a Baltimore printer, and nobody probably has any idea who she is. She put her name on it anyways, in cold hard ink, right underneath 55 men that she'd never met, basically handing the British a list of exactly who to hang first. And she went ahead and added herself to it, just for funsies. Her name, Mary Katharine Goddard. She wasn't even allowed to do a lot of things that men could in the 18th century, but still somehow had zero problem voluntarily co-signing a treason charge with 55 strangers for nothing, for free, just because apparently that's what you do on a Tuesday in 1777. Mary Katharine Goddard is born in 1738 in Connecticut. The daughter of a postmaster, her mother, Sarah Updike Goddard, comes from money and makes sure her kids get an actual education. All the languages, all the arithmetic, all the grammar, the whole package. And this is at a time when most women in the colonies, most girls in the colonies, were being taught how to run a household, not anything else. Her younger brother, William, is the one who gets into printing first. He opens shops up in Providence and then Philadelphia. Finally, Baltimore, where he starts a newspaper called the Maryland Journal. William, as it turns out, has this really, really bad habit of starting shit and then flaking off.
I don't like my job, and I don't think I'm gonna go anymore.
He just wanders off to chase the next thing, which is where Mary Katharine comes in. By 1775, Mary Katharine is functionally running the Maryland Journal by herself, while her brother is off doing whatever else. And she's not just setting type at this print shop. She's like making editorial decisions. She's choosing what gets printed, putting the paper out under the name M.K. Goddard, dropping the pretense that this is her brother's operation because, hey, if you're doing the work, you might as well take the credit. Revolutionary concept, I know, truly ahead of her time. That same year, she becomes postmaster of Baltimore. She's believed to be the first woman appointed postmaster in the American colonies. It's not really a ceremonial title either. Baltimore is turning into one of the busiest port cities in the colonies, and the postmaster is the person moving military correspondence, government dispatches, news of the war through that city. They are very important people. So by the time shit gets serious with the revolution, Mary Katharine Goddard is simultaneously, she's one of Baltimore's principal printers and the person running the post office. She is, in a real sense, a major piece in the informational game in the entire city of Baltimore. In December of 1776, the war is going badly enough that the Continental Congress have to nope right the fuck out of Philadelphia. They evacuate Philly, relocate to Baltimore, pretty close to Goddard's print shop. In January of 1777, they commission her to print the official broadside of the Declaration of Independence, the first widely distributed version to include the printed names of the signers. 55 names at that point, since Delaware's Thomas McKean hadn't showed up for the party yet. And if you're not picking up what I'm actually trying to say here, up until this point, most colonists they've never seen a list of names attached to the Declaration. And publishing that list wasn't really neutral. Under British law, being connected to this declaration and could be treated as treason against the crown. And treason carried the possibility of the death penalty. And not the fun kind either. And folks, we are talking about a world, the kind of execution methods that the 1700s specialized in. Basically, death was the start, not the actual conclusion.
This is fine. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently.
And however long it took you to get there, that's on your willpower, I suppose. And that's the world that these 55 names are now printed into. A declaration in cold type on cheap parchment for anyone with a shilling to buy a copy and a grudge to act on it. And at the bottom of the page, Mary Katharine Goddard decided to print one more name. Not as a signer, but as the printer. Baltimore in Maryland, printed by Mary Katharine Goddard. Nobody made her do that. She wasn't a delegate. She wasn't tied to any of the founding daddies. She never signed anything. And a printer's imprint didn't have to include her actual name. She could have just printed in Baltimore and just walked on and just gone back to her life. Instead, she walked up to the biggest firing squad in North American history, wrote her own name on the sign-up sheet in the same ink she used for everyone else's. And once again, that is an absolutely batshit crazy, unhinged move for a chick who couldn't do anything in colonial America other than, wash clothes down at the creek. Goddard keeps running the Baltimore post office for 14 years, through the entire war, after the war, all the way up until 1789, and that year, a fellow by the name of Samuel Osgood, the nation's newly appointed Postmaster General under President Washington, well, he decides that the job needs someone who can travel to oversee the southern routes, and argues that a woman could not undertake that kind of travel. Never mind that traveling isn't actually part of the job description. Never mind that she'd already been doing the actual job for 14 years, being successful at it, including the part where a foreign army burned down half the eastern seaboard. This newly appointed twatwaffle just decides, women can't handle horses, I guess, and just removes her. Peak bureaucrat behavior. 14 years, flawless performance reviews, and one douchebag with a new title undoes it all in an afternoon because he doesn't think women can ride horses that well. Once this goes down, the populace of Baltimore has never changed. From colonial times to modern times, over 200 of the city's leading citizens signed a petition demanding that she be reinstated, which, if I'm being honest, is more people than most of us could get to sign a petition to keep our own jobs, or like a YouTube post, or a channel, or tell your friends about it. Hi, I'm Jeremy, this is not in the book. This is a shameless plug for the YouTube channel, the Spotify, the whatever else, right here in the middle of this episode. Links in the description. Goddard herself writes directly to President Washington, laying out her years of faithful service and asking him to intervene. Washington writes back, politely, but does all.
Gotcha, bitch!
Classic Washington, ice cold. Be very disappointed in you in beautiful cursive, but change absolutely nothing about the outcome. She doesn't get her job back, but she doesn't disappear either. She spends the next 20 years running a bookstore in Baltimore. She keeps working, keeps living in the same city that she served since before the country even existed. She never gets married, which honestly tracks after reading the story and seeing how the men in this story treat competent women. At this point, that seems less like a tragedy and more like a lifestyle choice, which is great, and that's fine, and that's wonderful. Good for you. She dies in 1816 at 78 years old. Mary Katharine Goddard put her own name on the printing that carried America's revolutionary into treasonous exposure. She ran a major American post office for 14 years, got fired over some bullshit about riding a horse, kept a significant piece of the city's printing press alive. You could probably name 6 guys who showed up, signed some shit, and then went home to let their wives or their owned people run their actual household. What she got was a printing press and a post office, and the nerve to show people that shit really mattered too. 56 names are on that parchment, declaring our freedom from tyranny. The printer who put her name on the sheet too without anyone asking her to. Who else got written out of the story? Drop a name in the comments. I'm always hunting down the next one. If you like this stuff, subscribe to this stuff. Tell your friends about this stuff. There's a store, merch links in the bio. All that stuff's in the bio. Go have fun.